Here's a couple of things to bear in mind. You'll do some of it. You may not feel comfortable doing all of it. It's pretty clean.
Mhm.
Lato, L-A-T-O. It's a more modern font. It's very clear. It's not serify, which isn't a word, but you know what I mean. We've also introduced some color. And let's just work through this very quickly. Standard resume format. Stick your name at the top. Don't bother put in whatever your last title was, the title you're looking for, or anything like that. This bit at the top, don't get into career summary, objective, edited highlights, da da da. Over the last, I think, 2 weeks, I've seen 2 resumes where we literally haven't got into the experience before page 2 of the resume. You don't want to do that. People want to read it. Remember, it's not about what you've done. It's about what you want people to know that you've done. It's a marketing and sales document. It is not a statement of complete fact. If it were a statement of complete fact, you'd be telling people what you had for breakfast this morning too. It is selected and selective fact. So, short, sharp, and to the point, 3 to 5 bullet points at the top. Professional experience. Contact information, always at the top. Always put your LinkedIn profile there. As much as anything is because I think I don't know if it works with everybody, but certainly with the premium profiles on LinkedIn, LinkedIn will tell you who's been looking at your profile. That can be quite handy. Remember, LinkedIn is a private party.
Mhm.
LinkedIn is going to favor people who pay them to go to their party. So recruiters are the biggest source of revenue for LinkedIn. But if you're a job seeker and they've got a job seeker package, if you're a job seeker and you're paying them monthly and you have got exactly the same profile as another person, you've got a twin brother who went exactly through your career path, but he's not paying for LinkedIn. Guess what? You're getting seen before he is.
Right.
Because you're paying to be at the party. So bear that in mind as well. We've used color here. It's short, sharp, to the point. It's where you set the scene, explain who the company is. So many people, they just put the company name and it's like, and it's such a nondescript name. It's like, I have no idea what you do. You need to know what the company does because you also need to know what you do within the company, and that helps to sort of set the scene. And then these bullet points get into that. So, and then some sort of examples here where oversource is, some of those word tracks, you might actually be able to use oversource something and increase ROI by 10% by developing and something for clients and prospects, establish something, identifying something which results in 10%, blah, 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 that kind of thing, We've got to challenge the action result all the way through. And people are like, well, what about the ATS? What about the ATS? It's got to go through a set of eyes first. It always does. But if you're really that keen on the ATS, bury it down here. Core competencies, otherwise known as this is where information goes to die. If you really are that married to the ATS, stick it down here. Nobody wants to read it. Nobody cares. Education, stick it at the bottom. There was a study done. 5% of education is an indicator of future on the job performance 5% of the time. Big study that was done in 2016. I can even provide you with a link to the study. I'm that boring. So let's go to the top. Read this first. I would actually leave it as read this first because you remember that last one where I said you and Jackson Yu is saying you, and it's like talking to me directly. It's giving me a very clear instruction. You will read this first. All I'm doing there is read this first. I'm telling the reader to read this first. Now, in order to do that, this bit is going to replace the cover letter. This bit is going to replace everything else. This bit is the edited highlights. This is going to get that person into the bit they want to read. So your job is to get them from here to here. If you can't get them from read this first into professional experience, you've failed. Your document has failed in its job. So key thing is here, read this first needs to be compelling. What you need to do is be able to decode what the job description is asking for. If you can decode what the job description is asking for, and I've got some videos that are also posted on that YouTube channel, which I can give you the link to, but I've also got some videos posted there on decoding the job description. And if you want to send me a link to the job description after the fact, because it's like, you know what, I'm not really very good at this. I am, because it's like, I do nothing all day long other than that. So I've had a bit of practice. Then you put 3 to 5 bullet points at the top, ideally 3. That's the magic number. But they speak directly to the reader about the job that they're posting. The reader says, oh, I like this. Now, as an example, and this is the example I give to everybody, Gareth is looking for a new recruiter. As you can tell, as you know, we use Predictive Index for behavioral profiling. One of very few recruiters that do. Big part of what we do, it separates us from the competition. Big on employee engagement, employee retention, yada, yada, all of that good stuff. But, you know, we're an agency. What sets us apart, unfortunately, means that we are set apart, and that's probably going to be tough to get an agency recruiter who's got that experience. But let's say we go like, so let's say somebody applies to the job. They read the job description, they see that 5 years of agency search and selection experience or exercise experience, certified PI practitioner. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 words. I will guarantee you dollars to donuts. I still may not read this. I may just go straight there and phone you. Say, right, William, can you come in? That's about readings, what somebody needs to read, not what you want to tell them. There's a whole bunch of stuff that people put in resumes. I don't know why they do it. It's just that they feel the need to pad it out, you know? I would actually advocate for keeping it as read this first too. If you feel comfortable that you can challenge the reader to read it and keep their interest to get down here, I would strongly suggest keeping that in. That is going to be so different from what they read most of the time. It's going to be, all right, I'll play, you know? So that's it in a nutshell.